Hi, I'm Charles with AniCap. Previously, Mofon was somehow able to awaken two rare talents, but kept it a secret until he had to use them in a difficult duel. He is eventually forced to move to another city where he would shockingly awaken another two talents. His school has a ceremony where all the students attempt to defeat the new summoners, but they are having a difficult time with Mofon. The story continues as Mu demonstrates her powerful mid-tier wind ability, and Mofon makes a final offer to split the winnings 50-50. Mu, however, is only interested in fighting now, and Mofon must do his best to avoid the center of her twister. His archwolf sacrifices itself to stop the attack, but has its life spared by Mu. She explains that she respects the rare beast too much to kill it, and Mofon expresses his gratitude, but refuses to concede. She understands, but asks that he show his true strength if they are to continue fighting. Mofon sends his beast back and shows off a bit of his lightning magic, but her wind ability makes her too hard to hit. Mofon is out of the range of her twister attack, but she reveals that she has other methods of winning the fight. The entire crowd cheers as their goddess has demonstrated her second mid-tier talent and killed the evil mage Mofon, securing their resources in the process. Mu asks that he concede, but is shocked to find that Mofon has somehow escaped her forest prison. She can't even see Mofon when he appears behind her and explains that she has already lost. She is stunned by his mastery of the shadow talent, especially after having seen him use summoning and lightning already. She wonders if Mofon is actually a high tier mage, but refuses to believe that, since no one in the entire world could be one at such a young age. All that aside, she must now surrender as Mofon demands it of her. An instructor recommends that the dean tell Mofon to give up the reward since it will cause too much of a problem. However, the dean has already made his decision and announces to everyone that all their training resources will be given to the summoning department for the semester. This obviously causes a lot of commotion. A student explains that he comes from a poor family like many of the others and depends greatly on those resources. They refuse to give them up to a student who obviously comes from privilege and had a much easier life than they did. However, the dean reveals to them that the student who has just taken away all the resources comes from Bow City. Everyone is stunned and humbled a bit as they have heard how the city was completely ravaged by beasts and the survivors were left without a home. Mofon is a bit embarrassed and wonders what all the ladies will think of him now. A few days later, Mofon wonders why the other students don't seem upset with him anymore. His roommates explain that it is because Mu decided to take responsibility for their loss and had her family donate enough money to replace the resources. Ping then asks Mofon how he managed to get out of Mu's forest prison, since no one was able to see. He refuses to tell him though because he doesn't think they can keep a secret. Later, Mofon meets with the dean who says that since the first day they met, he knew Mofon was hiding something. The dean reveals that even though he wasn't able to see it, he sensed that Mofon used the shadow ability. Mofon doesn't want to reveal his secret though, so they begin to discuss his reward. The dean explains that the academy has decided to convert all the students' resources into things that Mofon can actually use. The first is a high tier magical item that Mofon must choose. There are several to pick from, but Mofon chooses a pair of demon blood boots that the dean says will improve his running ability and will even allow him to cut through boulders. His next reward is the opportunity to train at a sacred training ground called the 3-Step Tower. It is a very rare opportunity that he will only get to do once, so the dean recommends he only use it when he really needs a breakthrough. The remaining prize comes in the form of 2 million yuan that Mofon can use as he pleases. Before handing it over though, the dean gives a long-winded speech about the current state of the world and a mage's responsibility towards it. Afterwards, Mofon thinks about how the best magical items cost 10 times more than what he has, and instead calls his father to tell him to buy a nice house. He also knows that his sister is alone often and would like to get her a nanny. He would like to eventually be able to afford those magical items though, so he decides to go back to hunting. However, it is explained to him that in order to join the Shanghai Urban Demon Hunters, you must at least be an elite level hunter. According to the data they have, Fanmo is still considered a novice. He becomes upset and demands his money back, but the man says there might be something else he can do. He says that he should consider joining a private hunter club. They are founded by master hunters that use their reputation to attract clients. They also charge more and have a higher success rate. When he arrives at the office, a girl informs him that the base price for a job will cost him 300,000 yuan, but Mofon explains that he is there for an interview. She informs her grandpa of Mofon, but explains that he is too young and they won't be hiring him. An actual client arrives and Mofon is surprised to see that the girl can be polite when she escorts the woman in. She is there because she thinks her husband might be a monster since he is usually out all night and she has found his clothes covered in blood. Mofon recommends that she call the police, but she says that they don't believe her. The girl then tells her to think more positively since her husband might not even be a monster and might just be a normal murderer. The club leader declines her request and she says that she will blame them if something happens to her son. The man explains to Mofon that things aren't always what they seem and shows him a form that was filled out by the woman's husband. He has already hired them since he thinks his wife is the monster. What's even more shocking to Mofon though is that the man reveals that this will be Mofon's first assignment. He is unsure if he can find out who the liar is, but the man explains that the job is actually to just protect their son. He is then surprised once more when it is explained that he will be taking the little girl with him, but she demands respect when she shows him her certification as a master hunter. She thinks Mofon looks like a fool and objects to taking him, but the man has already decided. Later, Mofon explains that he wants to be a hunter so that he can gain experience in actual battle, but the little girl named Ling Ling knows it's really just about the money. The man formally introduces himself as Bao and explains that a small job like this one will only pay a few 100,000 yuan. Mofon is shocked to hear that large amount, but Bao says he can just consider the job as practice. Later, the pair think that Mofon's name is Fanmo because that is still his name in the hunter's database, and Ling Ling wonders why her grandfather has recruited him. He explains that he has potential and will one day surprise her. The next day, Mofon gets in a taxi that is also transporting a group of girls that are upset with him for embarrassing their idol Fang in battle. He arrives to his meeting with Ling Ling to find that she sits dangerously at the edge of a building. She explains that she has managed to install cameras in their client's home and they hear that the woman is about to take a bath. Mofon, being the gentleman that he is, offers to take over watching the camera since Ling Ling must be tired, but she declines and calls him a pervert. She then begins to wonder how someone who was so concerned earlier could be so calmly taking a shower now. Mofon completely agrees and thinks that they should take a look in the shower to investigate further, but again she refuses his perverted suggestion. Just then they see that the woman had somehow shed, and Ling Ling seems to be familiar with the creature. She has no time to explain though, since if she is not mistaken, the woman is about to murder someone. He wonders if the victim will be her husband, but when they look back, she is already gone. She is impressed with his shadow magic as he is able to move through the shadows around him according to their size, and acknowledges that he must be well practiced. His search begins after property management has revealed which girls in the area are under 20 years old and are registered mages. There are only 6, and he goes to check on a trio that live in an apartment near the woman's house. He arrives to see that it's the girl from the taxi and barges in but doesn't find the woman. He believes he made a mistake and begins to apologize just as one of the girl's roommates gets thrown in front of them. The girl explains she has a light talent and he asks her to come along. They find that her third roommate has already been taken by the creature and Mofon must stop his attack to check on the girl he thought would be helpful. He must then chase after the fleeing monster but stop when he sees that all the building's lights are on. Without any dark areas, Mofon is not able to travel using his shadow magic. Just then, Ling Ling informs him that the husband has arrived home but that he has also started shedding. He wants to go back to check on the girls, but Ling Ling says that she knows they will be fine and that what's most important is they protect the child. They're running out of time as the man has finished shedding, but Mofon arrives just in time to land an attack. However, it doesn't get paralyzed at all, and Ling Ling warns him that the male is extremely strong. The other monster appears to reveal that they are working together, and Ling Ling decides to come help. Mofon says that she won't be needed though, and uses his boots of the beast to get them out. He hoped to avoid using magic near people's homes, but has no other option, and hits them with a powerful fire attack. Mofon's attack sent the male creature all the way up to where Ling Ling is, and he tells her to be careful, since his attack surely damaged him, but wasn't enough to kill it. She compliments his capability, and Mofon wonders why he is so happy about being praised by a kindergartner. He meets with Ling Ling and explains that the 3 roommates had gone to the hospital. Mofon can't tell if the man is a human or a monster, and she says that it's a scaly beast. It survives off human blood and lives on them, completely covering their body and acting as a parasite. As long as they are killed quickly though, the monster will shed off and the host can be saved. Mofon wants to rescue the woman, but Ling Ling says that the boy is safe and their job is done. The city hunters will take care of the rest. The man begins to beg for help, and Ling Ling tells Mofon to call an ambulance since the man is their client and he can only pay if he is alive. Later, Mofon wakes up and is told by Manyan that he has been sleeping for 2 straight days. He thinks about how monsters being present in a big city is inevitable and he must work hard to become stronger. He has just wasted 2 days, so he must make up for it. After several hours of training, he is excited to see that he has leveled up his shadow talent. He now has 2 skills for each of his lightning, fire, and shadow talents. Added to his dimensional summoning, that makes 7 skills in total. Later, Ping comes to tell him that there is a girl looking for him, but is disappointed to hear that it's just Ling Ling. Mofon meets her outside and she reveals that the man they saved was able to recover and has offered them 1 million yuan if they save his wife. She then shows them a map that they will use to find her. Ling Ling had managed to obtain a sample of the female demon's blood and created a system with this data. She explains that if a red dot appears on the map, then it will be the female demon's location and the black dot is theirs. Nothing is showing yet, and she says they need to wait for the sun to go down since the parasitic monster looks just like a normal human during the day. At night though, when it gets hungry, it will have to come out and hunt. Mofon is really impressed with their high-tech tracker, but notices that something seems to be wrong with it. There are far too many red dots, but Ling Ling is confident that her tracker is working properly, explaining that she might not be great in battle, but technology is what she excels at. Knowing that they are parasitic, Mofon begins to wonder if they are also capable of spreading like a disease, and we see that the number of red dots begins to increase dramatically. Thank you for watching part 11, 10,000 likes to let me know you want part 12.